Life is too damn short to be pissed off all the time. And I want to talk to you today, along with my cat Pharaoh, who's joining us for this episode, about the simplicity and the complexity of this dynamic of how we view life, the meanings that we attach to things, and how we choose to live our day to day. And the reason I'm bringing that up to you guys is for the longest time, we've been brought up, told, and conditioned that, again, like the religion, race, our upbringing, all of that is definitive. It is what it is, and nothing can be changed. So some people believe that particular character traits or worldviews that they have are encoded into their DNA. Well, I'm XYZ religion, therefore the world is this way. Hey, I'm this race, this ethnicity, therefore I'm this way, the world is this way, so on and so forth. And the reason that this is so deeply conditioned in us is generation after generation after generation, without people really knowing it until you challenge it, like I have and other people have. This just continually gets rolled into. It's no different than like a recipe being handed down, right? That's innocent in the sense that something's cooked and prepared the way that it normally is because of tradition, but nobody ever really looks at the ingredients or says, hey, right? It's tradition, this is what we do. So in the sense of a recipe, that's fine. But when it comes to the recipe of your life and your thinking, your character, how you view the world, how you process the world, that could be either extremely detrimental or beneficial, depending on what it is. So the moment that you begin to capture that and understand it and realize, hey, I'm in control of a lot more than I thought, suddenly things begin to shift. Let's look at something classic like the pessimist and the optimist. Well, what's the difference? Same experiences, same occurrences in the world, same circumstances in their lives. One views it in what we deem and define as a positive light, and another person looks at it and deems it in a negative light. What's the difference? Well, it's a choice of the individual, is it not? It's how they're perceiving circumstances, processing it, their worldview, and the filter that they have on their world, right? That's what it is. Now, is that not a choice? One can say it's difficult because we're so habitually conditioned with our particular patterns and belief systems. That's fine. But one thing that I've taught and discussed for a long time is most people deal with thoughts, ideas, and actions which are on the surface of what it is to be a human being. You need to get to the root, your values and beliefs, and at the core, your identity. You change that, understanding and seeing and realizing that that's malleable, everything on the surface will change, right? We cut the weed at the top. What happens? It regrows. It's the same weed. You rip it out from the root, now it's gone. A new weed or something new could be inserted or established there. That's the way you need to view the human mind and the human condition. So we're habitually patterned and we've conditioned ourselves through our upbringing and the influences that we've had to live, operate, believe, attach a certain meaning, perceive the world a certain way. Boom, boom, and we go on that track until something changes. These things have, again, gone from being conscious things that have been put into us, they're now on the subconscious, so they're just automatic. So until you go in and you change that and you challenge it, you will continue going in this direction. Now, this process is simple, but it's complicated at the same time because a lot of the solutions that you're going to see out there are very surface level. So I'm going to ask you right now to leave a comment and say, okay, if I was to ask you, what is your identity as a human being? And you start naming who you are, your character traits. What is that? What is it composed of? Your core beliefs and values and philosophies that you live life on and who you are, right? How you view the world, right? Give me maybe 2 or 3 sentences to start to describe. You don't have to give me everything, but what your identity is. And as you do that, I welcome you to do it, because if you're watching this and you're serious about changing it, you would have to do these exercises, because that, again, is one of the issues with the condition of the human being today is they listen or potentially they read, but they don't implement. So it's just information. It's not knowledge and wisdom yet. It's not applied. So as you're writing that down and then you read it, I want you to read that, whatever it is that you left, and I want you to let me know how you process it. Are you viewing that as definitive? Hey, I'm this way. Are you viewing these things like, man, okay, I don't like that thing about my identity or beliefs or philosophies, but I can't change that because X, Y, Z. Now I'm asking you to explore that and look and analyze, because this will now give us an indication to where the underlying root cause is of all these problems. If you tell me you can't change because of your race, your ethnicity, your gender, because that's just the way it is, or I've always been this way, or that's how we're, again, understand that that's conditioning. But right now it's a part of your identity and it's a core belief and value for you. Therefore, if that doesn't change and shift, nothing changes. Because at the core, you need to change. So the first point that we're bringing up here is awareness. The second one is going to be recognition and the beginning of the process of change. Because if you recognize it, right, we can then next look at it and say, okay, now I believe, because that's step 2. Do you believe that it can be changed? You have to acknowledge it and become aware. Number 2, do you believe? Now, many of you right now may not, and that's okay. That might take you some time to actually believe it. And as an exercise, I'm going to say, you know what? Do an experiment where for a week you adopt my worldview and my thinking. And say, hey, it's not going to be permanent just yet. I'm going to try this thing out. What's up, buddy? I'm going to try this thing out. Hopefully his purring doesn't come through on the mic too loud. I'm going to try this out. And you know what? I'm going to believe what this dude on the internet said. I'm aware of it now, but I'm going to believe that, yes, at the level of identity, values, and beliefs at my core, that XYZ, this thing or these things can change. Now, next step, step 3, is what I just mentioned, which is the process of changing it. I'm now going to look at the world. If I typically saw the world as everybody being my enemy for a week, I'm going to look and act as if everybody's not my enemy. I'm going to play around and say, hey, you know what? Everybody's potentially a friend until I find out. So I'm going to start talking to people and gathering, reps and experience to test this new belief and philosophy, because we now need to go out and capture data. So many people right now are crippled socially, as an example. You see that rampant with these younger generations especially, but even people my age, like 40 plus, because they don't interact and deal with human beings anymore. They get all of their information from social media or videos or YouTube. So they don't even interact with the real world, or they do far less than they interact with social media in the virtual world. So the feedback they're getting is incorrect. We need to go out there and gather data now. This is how you begin the process of change. I'm not going to change a worldview unless I apply it. I'm not going to change a character trait unless I develop it. Like if I say, hey, in the future, I want to become a very confident and charismatic speaker and communicator. Well, how are you going to do that? You're not going to do that by thinking your way to becoming it. You're going to have to do it. You have to go out there and communicate with people. Put yourself out there. Join organizations. Go to Toastmasters, right? Start to do the prospecting and lead generation like I always promote for salespeople and real estate agents. You got to go out there and talk to people and interact with people. Make phone calls and knock on doors and do open houses and go to flea markets and talk to people, right? Have real life interactions. Because then if you have a twisted perspective on how you are, oh, nobody likes me, I'm weird, but you're going out there and you're talking to people every day, and most people are going to start interacting with you in a very neutral or positive way, well, it's going to start erasing that old belief you have up here and in your identity, because now, again, the real world experience you're getting is contradictory to that belief that you held. So through the capturing of this life experience and getting out there and taking action and engaging with life, you now begin to further test these beliefs and philosophies and your identity. And you start to shape it and mold it more towards what you want, towards progress, towards evolution, towards growth, which is what we want here. Especially if you clicked on this video and you're watching my channel, you follow me because we're all on this journey of getting better, of improving. And if that's really what you want, then it would behoove you to engage in this type of stuff, because we're just scratching the surface here with some basic change. But again, 99% of people that will watch this or listen to it will not apply it. Oh, that's good stuff, Bryan, and that's where it is. They won't even leave the comment, like I said. Now, going back to that second point, do you believe? Because if you don't believe anything that I'm saying, nothing's going to change. So again, try it out. Get some experience. Wear this like a hat for a week and see how it goes. And dedicate yourself to this change, a better, newer, more upgraded version of you. Because we're not supposed to stay the same. Remember, stagnation equals decline. Stagnation equals breeding grounds for disease and all that, right? Things are going to break down. We leave a car and it doesn't move, it's going to have issues. Your body doesn't move, going to have issues, right? I mentioned this in another video. We're not supposed to stagnate. So when it comes to that level again of identity, values, and beliefs, as we start to go through this and change it, you now have the authority and the ability to establish these new things that you want. What philosophies are you going to embody? This is where you now will grasp from that pool of knowledge that you've acquired and learned. You're studying ancient philosophy and all these different things to study different characters and people who have different viewpoints on life. And what are you going to do? You're literally going to pick and choose. And the journey and the beauty of this is you can continuously change. As you find something better and more useful and that's more conducive to your path and where you want to go, you adopt it, you implement it, and you keep going and going and going and going, right? This is why it's so exciting for me to continuously learn and pour out, because I'm doing this all the time. It keeps life fresh. It keeps me constantly getting better. And this leads to ultimately more fulfillment and happiness and enjoyment in life for you as an individual. How could I fall into deep on the emotional tone scale, right? At the bottom of like depression, apathy, not caring, sadness, grief, if I'm constantly engaged with life with the purpose and intention of getting better and improving and learning? It would be impossible, because by virtue of that, you're not going to stagnate. Stagnation is what keeps us down. Because if I stagnate mentally, let's say I do nothing, I just sit here and I'm bored. Well, again, your body, your mind is wired for survival. What is it going to do? It's going to look for threats. If I'm not consciously occupying my mind and directing it, its automatic mode, its default mode is survival. It's going to look for problems. Right now I'm shooting this video, then I'm going to sit down and finish my secret little black book of questions. I'll probably sit down for 30 minutes or an hour and work on that. So I'm constantly moving. I'm doing stuff. And I'll sit there and meditate or do whatever I need to do to sit in silence if I choose that. But again, everything is structured. I got a Toastmasters that I do with my coaching members tonight at 6 p.m. I got to shoot another video for them as well. It's going to be 20, 30 minutes. I have my lectures tomorrow. Like we always have, not just sitting here like, I'm going to scroll. And because remember, where you default is where you suffer. The default is suffering, because when you default, meaning, again, I'm just going to now be the effect of the environment. Well, you're going to go with what's the status quo and the norm. And right now it's waste a lot of time, stay inside, don't socialize, scroll on TikTok and YouTube and waste your time. Now, is that going to lead towards a future that you're proud of? A version of you that's upgraded and better? I don't think so. Because another missing piece in this that I want you guys to get is the importance and the value that you need to put on the people that you choose to be around. You see, the internet has been a blessing in a sense that it has facilitated that. There's so many people who have found me and joined my communities that say, man, locally or anywhere else, I couldn't find this. And that is huge to them. Just like I've created these communities, I've been a part of communities myself, and it's cool. Because then you see a lot of these examples that I'm talking about. You learn from them. We're designed to be around people. But at the same time, the people that we're around directly influence us at the core level. And if you're around fantastic examples of discipline, legacy, purpose, direction, emotional intelligence, mental sharpness, great communication, well, again, if you're around that and you expose yourself to that and you hold yourself to the same standard that they are, you're going to improve like them. But at the same time, many people haven't looked at their closest friendships and relationships to see, hey, what type of impact is this having on my life? Is it impacting me in a positive way or in a negative way? Is it moving me forward, closer towards the life that I want? The things that I want, the life that I want to live, how I want to, view life? Or is it taking me away from it? If you're constantly in a bad mood, not a good sign. If you constantly don't have energy, not a good sign. If you're not constantly challenging yourself, not a good sign. If you're not highly accountable and you don't feel bad about not doing certain things that you say that you want to do, it's not good. It's bad. But again, when this example or these examples that I'm giving you of bad are your norm and it's all the time, you become numb to it. Because again, it's now slipped into your subconscious mind and it's just the habitual way of being, which isn't good. Because then if your habitual way of being is detrimental to your growth, you're going to keep sabotaging your own progress. And one of the things that this would really serve you with, like as an example, right? Let's say like a new kid joins my community, joins my coaching, and they're around me a lot more. They talk to me all the time. We interact a lot more. One of the things that they're going to pick up is that I'm extremely decisive and I make decisions quickly. And for a lot of people, they struggle with that because they themselves in everyday life are so hesitant with everything. But once they have that example, not only do they have an actual reference to say, oh, okay, I know what that's like now, but then very clearly, because I've introduced that sharp contrast to that thing in their life, meaning the opposite, it'll become even more clear to them like, whoa, okay, this is an issue. They didn't have that proper reference point before. So not only do they witness it and observe it and see it with me and how I do it, they now have that counterpoint that brings even more awareness to what they're doing. Oh, okay, this needs to change. I'm now seeing how this causes problems. Like the other day, a kid, I did a Zoom, right? He signed up for my coaching program, Distinguished Agent. And on the call, well, I'm not sure. I said, look, bro, I'm sensing a lot of hesitancy in you. If you're hesitant to join the very thing that we've discussed, that you've identified as being what you need to get to the next level, if you're hesitant about your future or what you want, then do not sign up because you ain't ready yet. You're not committed. You just told me you want X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and you'll do anything for it. But now when it comes time to make the decision, you're hesitant. What is going on? You need to capture it or move on. Now, he ended up joining, right? But that was a key moment. And I said, bro, that same hesitancy right now that you're showing is the reason you're in the position that you're in. And one of the things that's stopping you from growing. We need to grow past that. We need to break through that barrier. Because I guarantee you this is showing up in other places, right? And then we talked about it. Hesitancy in this and that. I'm like, of course, because how we do anything is how we do everything. A cliche saying, but so true. So that example of having the people around you right there, right? You fast forward, kid's been in for a couple weeks, absolute transformation in his personal life and his business. It's crazy to see the progress that kid has made in 2 or 3 weeks. He said, man, I've made more progress in the last 2 or 3 weeks than the last 6 months or a year. Exactly. But you took that step. Now I said at the same time, you have to acknowledge that discomfort to make that decision and now start to be decisive is uncomfortable because that's not your norm. That's why it's an indication that that's the right way to go. Because you're doing something new, you're breaking a barrier, of course it's going to be uncomfortable because your subconscious mind is battling for you to stay the same. It takes a lot more brain power and energy for you to change than it does to stay the same. And this is why as human beings, we struggle so much to make changes. Your own DNA works against you in that sense because that's the carnal self. That's not your higher intelligence. Logically, and using your mind, it makes sense to grow and evolve and change, but your body, right, wants to use the least amount of resources and energy. So there's kind of like that. That's the interesting part of the human condition is our own processes clash with each other. It's almost like the higher intelligence and then the flesh suit of the body and our DNA. It's like they were two separate beings that were put together that cause a little bit of conflict, right? But we've evolved and grown so much with language and all this other stuff that we've done. It's a trip to even think about. But again, you have the intelligence to recognize these things that I'm describing. So when you go through these moments of feeling uncomfortable, you don't give in to the emotion. You bring in your higher intelligence and say, okay, although I feel uncomfortable, I'm still going to take the action. And that's how you begin to grow and evolve as a human being. This is what will allow you to become a higher achiever, get more things done, actualize a lot of the goals and things that you have in your head. It's the implementation of that intelligence that you have, that higher intelligence, the higher capacity that you have as a human being to be able to win over emotions and, again, the flesh part of us. That's just survival, the animalistic side. That part of us we share in common with animals, the instinct. I'm hungry, I'm going to eat, right? I have desire to mate, I'm going to mate and procreate, right? That's all animalistic stuff. The higher intelligence is above that. Now, if we operate from that, life becomes a lot easier and simpler. You operate more from that flesh version of you, the animalistic side of you. Although there's attributes of it that are great, you're going to suffer because you're going to be led by your emotions and impulses. And we know that those aren't always the best thing to follow, right? When you get angry, is the right thing to do lash out to somebody? No, it's not. Sometimes we've had thoughts of hurting people maybe because you were upset at them. Long term though, is that the right decision? No. And if you did do something, you regret it later and you apologize. And some people make really harsh decisions that they regret for the rest of their lives, like offing somebody or something like that. So again, listening to the animalistic side, was it the right thing to do? Well, no. Looking back on it, no. But that's where the higher intelligence comes in. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're on this process and we're continuously growing, guys. And that's why I like doing these types of videos, because it bleeds into, in quotes, everything that we do. And the more that these philosophies and things are understood by you and applied by you, everything else benefits. Your personal life, your communication skills, your ability to run your business, because you become a higher functioning and better version of you. So whatever you put that version of you into is going to do better. Okay, I've added some free resources for you guys in the description. Grab them for free. It'll automatically put you on the email list and you'll stay up to date with everything that we do. All right, have a good day, y'all. Leave a thumbs up. We'll see you. Peace.